Rock 95, good afternoon, actually good morning. It is Spence, and joining me is Marty McCoy. How you doing, sir?
Good, man. How are you?
Good Lord, it's been forever since we spoke, I think.
I mean, it was pre-pandemic, eh? Does that sound right?
Good Lord. Yeah, it was. Yeah, because I think the last time you were in town, was it 3 years ago?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, and then your brother decides to retire, and then you pick the absolute perfect time to start a new band.
I mean, my timing has always been impeccable, sir. I don't.
Well, tell me about the decision to continue on, and it's still a stellar lineup. The four of you are really, really good. But tell me about the decision to do that, and why'd you pick the Lonely Ones?
So it wasn't Boboflex without Sean. It's like Tommy, Sean, and I were the core of that band. Jimmy and Jake came in and really filled some pretty big shoes. But you can't be Boboflex without Sean. He's the wild animal, man. It was like, and the rest of us wanted to continue on playing music together, but it just didn't feel right to say, hey, we're Boboflex, and Marty's singing we'll do Marty's songs. Didn't feel right, so we decided to start the Lonely Ones, and it was at first it was really scary, and then it became really exciting, and then the pandemic hit, and it became, here's our first big hurdle. If we can get past this, we can make it through anything. So, and the reason we called it the Lonely Ones was, being on the road and stuff. It's like people tend to leave you. If I'm being honest, it's not easy for people to maintain relationships and that kind of thing. And when you're on the road, and it's like, so it just kind of felt at that point in time with Sean leaving, there was some personal things going on in my life. That name just kind of flew out of the sky and hit me right in the chest. And I just said it, and the rest of the guys were like, yeah, no, I really like that name. And I was like, yeah, it makes perfect sense. Let's go. Let's write some songs.
Well, you put together a nice little collection of tunes. I don't know if you're going to release these as an EP, if you're just going to let those be singles for now, or what the story is, but maybe you can talk about that. But I love the singles you've released already.
Thank you. As far as albums go, I think we're going to put out an album just because I like to do stuff like that. And we do have fans who are like, when's the album coming? The reason we released them as singles at first is because that's the landscape of the music industry. And I mean, I remember saying things like, people don't buy records anymore, as I'm cherry picking singles off iTunes. Pointing the finger at other people and me doing the exact same thing. And that's just that's the way everybody does music now. It's like, okay, here comes out a single. Things move so fast on social media and move so fast on the internet that it's like, if you put out a whole record, where do you go after that? But if you have 22 songs that you release one every 2 months, then there's something new every couple months. It seems a little easier to stay relevant that way, especially as a brand new band.
Yeah, I would imagine so. And you're right, because people aren't buying those discs like they used to. But certainly when the fans come to the shows, that's the first thing they want. They want that little collector's piece. Yeah. Whether they play it or not, that's another thing. But they got to have that disc. I'd like to have that physical, touch to you guys, to the music with the CDs or even the vinyl.
Vinyl was up 70%. Imagine if I'd have told you, Spence, when we've been friends a long time. Imagine if I'd have came to you and said, hey, I'm going to buy these vinyl machines 10 years ago. You said, you're crazy. You're wasting your money. And then boom, it exploded. And everybody wants vinyl now. And it's wild. And I think that's why I think the album's going to come back. I just don't think it's here yet. But yeah, I mean, just imagine, having that crazy idea that we're going to buy up all these vinyl machines, these vinyl presses, and this is the next move. And some people can see the future. I said, you're nuts. I'm not giving you any money.
I couldn't agree more. I've always had a record player, and because I go back a ways.
Yeah.
But so I've always had the thing, but I never used it for years and years and years. And then all of a sudden, over the last several years, I got back. I've got a nice little setup now. I've got the vinyl back out, and I'm enjoying that again. And you forget when you have these albums, when you look at it and you're part of it, and you have this big artwork, you're like, how fun that is to do that again. And now to have newer music and how warm those records sound Like I've got a curved one and a Metallica one and stuff, and I can't wait to get some of your stuff too at some point. I'm like, God, it's just the sound on that's just fabulous.
It does sound better. I remember when Boba Flex finally did vinyl, and it took it takes 6-8 weeks. It's backed up. I mean, it's a crazy business right now. Everybody's backed up. If Clutch or Tool wants to do vinyl, they got to go 6 months in advance, like everybody else. There's no cut in the line. And I remember waiting and waiting and waiting when we did a record store signing down in Florida, and that's the label had shipped the vinyl there, and it was the first time I'd heard the vinyl. It was along with everybody else, and I had poured over these mixes and songs, and but the first time I heard it on vinyl, I was like, that sounds totally different. That is so warm, and the guitars sound like I thought they were supposed to sound when we were cutting the record, and the vocals are panned to the left and the right, and it is a different medium, and it's better. I thought, yeah, whatever, yeah, blah blah blah. No, it is. It sounds great. It's amazing. Yeah. It's warm. It's huge. It feels alive. It feels real. So yeah, I know why that surge is coming back. And it just, like you said, the whole experience of holding that record and looking and reading all the stuff inside, and that big, huge artwork, and the art of setting it down and setting the needle down really easily so you don't scratch your record. It's a lot like a living, breathing kind of thing.
Well, it's that first connection to a band, especially if you used to love to have the lyrics, like pull up the album sleeve, put the album on, and go, oh, here's lyrics, and read and sing along with the tune. So I just love that connection. Love the reconnecting with this new generation too. Like my daughter just got a record player too. So loving that.
My girlfriend's much younger than me, and she wanted for Christmas. She got a record player. She got a bunch of vinyl, and she's totally into the whole thing. And it's wild to watch. I used to do that when I was a kid, steal all my dad's records and sit down and do the same thing with the big headphones. She don't wear the big headphones. She refuses to do that.
Well, we'll work on her.
Yeah,
we'll work on her. Well, we're talking to you because we want to find out the band, but you're coming back to town to What's Up Lounge March 12th, and we just had that announcement last week, so we're excited to see you again, because it's been a few years, and of course, this will be the first time all of us have seen The Lonely One. So I'm extremely excited. I'm sure this is fun for you to kind of get back into these markets where you've established relationships with fans and play the new stuff.
I can't wait to come back and come back to the What's Up Lounge. That's where it all started for us in Mankato. That's where we met you. That's where we met, I love that place. I hate the load in, but I love that club. It's a nice, intimate club. It sounds great in there. We'd gone through many of the clubs in Mankato, and like we were talking, some of them didn't survive the pandemic and stuff. But to come back to the What's Up Lounge, it's kind of special, and I can't wait to come back. People started hitting me up. I saw you're coming back to the What's Up Lounge, or I saw you guys are coming back to Mankato, or hey, when are you guys coming back to Mankato? All this week. It's like, it's a big coincidence. So it's gonna be fun to come back, man. It's gonna be good to see you. If you'll have us in the studio, we'll come into the studio. I don't know if people know this or not, but you and I and the band have been friends for a very, very long time, and it's always good to come back and see you guys.
I know the exact date and month. Yeah, and I think it was March 2009.
Is when we met.
Yeah, first time we met face to face. I think we talked and things like that prior to that, but the first time that we met in studio was 2009, March of 2009.
That is over a decade ago.
No. There's a lot of life changes through there.
You've been moisturizing. You don't look a day older. March 2009.
Thank you. I do moisturize. I was going to ask you. Tell me about. I know you guys have a new single you're going to. I'm going to play one of the old ones in a second here. We'll play "Change the Station" in a second. I'll ask you about that track too, okay. And in your messages. But tell me about. Okay, you got a new release coming out sometime over the next few weeks or sooner than that. What are you thinking?
Mid-February. Yes. We have a new song. It's called "The Way Out." It's a love song. It's very dark. I don't know if you noticed that's the theme of the Lonely One songs. But I think it's as a band, it's my favorite song that we've written so far. But it's a love song. It's about, when the pandemic hit and everybody, it messed people up, man. And I heard a lot of wild stories, and I lost a lot of friends, and not only to, the coronavirus, but to, people started drinking more, people started getting way more depressed, suicide rates were up. And I wrote a song about two people that decided two lovers that decided, this sucks. Let's get out of here. We'll meet on the other side, and maybe it's better.
Okay. God, can't wait. I can't wait to hear it. Yeah, I can't wait to hear that.
It's one of my favorite songs that I've ever been a part of and ever written, and it's dark. It's a love song, but it's dark.
Okay, terrific. I can't wait to check that out. Now, this current single, which came out, God, I don't know, late summer maybe, with
July 15th. July 15th. I remember the day like it was yesterday.
And well, tell me about the track, because I like it because it is a sign of the times, and you talk about some serious issues in there, but you balance how you do that without pissing both sides off.
Well, that was the thing. So I'm very liberal, but we've gotten a little wild here lately, haven't we?
Yeah.
And it's like, I have friends that are conservatives and I have friends that are liberals, and it's like we need each other to balance it out. As the right goes too far, as the left goes too far, it gets pretty ugly. It gets pretty silly. And that was a weird thing to sit around and watch, where friends that I've been with, people I've been friends with for 15 years, believing in QAnon and wanting to kill me, and believing that I was just like, what is happening? And then the other side too, my side, getting crazy and wanting to, it was just the weirdest thing. When you take away rock concerts and football games and things like that, and people are left to their own devices, they're pretty mean. They can get pretty crappy towards each other. So, that's what it was about. It was like, hey, both sides are acting crazy, selfish, out of their minds. My side's better than your side. I get on some things, not everything.
Yeah.
You got to, some of your ideas are good, some of your ideas are good. But it turned into that polarized, my team's better than your team. It was as if, and it's like, you're both playing for the Bengals, man. Are you both playing for the Browns, man? You're touting your team's the best, and you're not very good. You know what I mean? You have some major flaws in your plans. So it was just weird to watch, and everybody watched it. And sometimes I became a part of it. I can't sit back and say that I was the greatest. It was like, there was times where I was like, man, you're getting a little wild, and we're getting a little witch burny on both sides. And it was just like,
I agree. It's okay to have differences of opinion, but we don't need to be assholes to one another,
Oh, I don't want you to, regardless who you voted for, regardless if you're conservative or liberal, it's like, I like you very much, and I don't want anything bad to happen to you. And I feel that way about everybody. And I had to step back a little bit, because there was a lot of fear and anger. And I thought, at first I thought we were all going to die. A lot of us did. But, I thought it was the beginning of The Walking Dead, and all the grocery store shelves are empty, and there's riots in the streets, and people trying to take over the Capitol, and it was a pretty scary time. So I took a step back and writing that song, and tried to realize, it's like, I still like all these people. I still like people in general. This is just a tough time, and we have to put our heads down and be kind and be good to each other, or we'll, what's it matter if we make it out of this thing? If we kill each other in the streets when it's over, it doesn't make any sense. And that can happen. It's happened many times.
I agree. Let's fire this track up. I know you're busy. We thank you so much for your time. And again, we look forward to seeing you on Saturday, March 12th.
I always feel like you're throwing me off the phone. I always feel like I'm going to start to talk too much. You're like, okay, I got to go, see you later.
No, not at all. I can talk to you forever. So I'm like, well, let's maybe play the song before we get too far off track and lose people. But we can chat more when you get to town here in a couple of months. So,
all right, brother. I love you. It's good to see you. Good to hear your voice, man. I can't wait to see you in person. It's going to be a good time. And the Lonely Ones, this song's called Change the Station.
I know. I'm giving you a big hug when I see you next. I hope you know that. Giant hugs. Giant ginger hugs. Here are the Lonely Ones. Change the station at Rock 95. Got it, sir.